Maybe in a decade they take me out on a stretcher till I come back like Roman Reigns. Blood in my veins, still boiling and the pot finna bubble up. 10 blunts lit, I got the drop in the double cup. Bro, they know I'm at the spot and I'm finna fuck 'em up. Pearly gates waiting, but it's no heaven. Call me baby reverend, choke 'em out like Dan Severn, and my brother's still bludgeon. We at the complex on a new day. Dreads to my ears, I look like Lupe. Yeah.
What's up, everybody? And welcome to the 17th episode of Permanent Marks. I'm back this week. I was gone last week. I don't know what the fuck I was doing, but I wasn't here.
I was about to say, what were you even doing? I don't even fucking remember.
I think I went to a show or something. But yeah, I was off, and I gave it over to Aaron, Eric, and Moretta, and they crushed it. Great episode. Go listen to number 16 if you haven't. But I'm back, and I am one half of Permanent Marks. My name is Patrick Busey.
And I am Aaron Parker, the gracious co-host with the most. It's good to have Patrick back. It was like being in a fever dream the other week without him here. But it was fun having two black people to make fun of the one white person. That was fun.
That's good. You gotta have that sometimes. You know, you gotta reset the scales. My friend.
reparations, man.
No, yeah, it was great. It was great leaving any digital thing in Aaron's hands to take care of.
When I'm like marginally a little bit better than you at best.
I think it'll turn out well, but while we're filming this, I get to look at his screen and it looks like he's in a rainstorm or something. Like it usually turns out better at the end, but like while we're filming, it's like, oh yeah, it's great. He has a laptop from 2001 that he
this one's a little newer.
Or something.
This one's a little bit newer. It's the white woman's Mac laptop, so it's got a little bit of riz to it, a little bit of sauce.
Proud of you, moving it on up. You know what I'm saying?
At least the graininess will take away from the unattractive look on my face.
Oh, come on, Aaron. Come on, Aaron. Have confidence in yourself. Flex your prettiness, bruh.
That's the problem. Normally I'm too confident, so I'm trying to be humble now. I'm trying to humble myself.
Okay. All right. I like to keep a middle ground. I'm like, yeah, I'm not so ugly that people like wouldn't show me to other people. You know, like that's a good thing to be, I think. I don't know. But then I got my double chin going on. I'm like, yeah, welcome to the pod. Lot to talk about this week. We're gonna have a little different episode with the PWI top 10 coming out, or the entire list of 150 coming out.
500.
That's right.
Which props to Dave Meltzer. Really loves wrestling, because like I couldn't name 500 wrestlers.
PWI is not Dave Meltzer, bro.
Is it not? Oh, that's Wrestling Observer. Whoever those guys are and gals, they definitely are dedicated, because I couldn't name 500 people if you put the gun to my head. So
that's true. I can't name half the people that I already know.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
But we're gonna go through that list today because it kind of boggled my mind, but it'll be a fun little thing to talk about. And then we also have some movings and goings in AEW, some leaving because they wanted to leave, and some leaving because they can't be there no more. And then we also have all the WWE craziness going on with the Endeavor merger finally coming to fruition and being put into place this week. So a lot of stuff to go over. But I think to start off with, the biggest and like most fun that we can have is talking about this goddamn list. Because who doesn't like lists? Lists are fun. Lists are sometimes nowadays, I feel like all the time, infuriating.
I think literally everyone is a little a little peeved at this list, except for Seth Rollins. Like everybody in the world,
Seth Rollins on top.
is peeved except for Seth Rollins. Like legitimately.
Seth Rollins doesn't got a care in the world. Let's just go over it to set up our little talking points. We're just gonna say the top 10 real quick. PWI, and this is men or women that fight both men and women. So the women's list will be out. I think usually it comes out later in October. So we'll see what we're working with there.
So much for a women's revolution, bro. So much for a women's revolution.
I think women were just, or no, the women inclusion into the top 500 was just started in like 2021. But yeah, it's still only for people that wrestle both men and women. So you're not gonna really see any of the big two. WWE.
Real quick on that. How so? That makes sense because the whole women's revolution thing, that was like what, 2016, 2017 that was going on, right? So I guess that makes sense because I guess we're just getting to an age where people are actually recognizing the fact that women are just as good as men at wrestling. But how long until you think that, you know, the whole list is merged together? And
Until
do you
the
think,
whole list.
and do you think that's a good idea? I think that's a good idea because
I think that's a great idea.
there's so many people on this list probably that like no one fucking knows. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you know,
yeah,
like,
you're putting fucking, I don't know. I don't want to call out people I don't know, but like,
no,
but
yeah,
there's a lot of people I don't know, and like, you're putting them above fucking Rhea Ripley, who has had like the year of her life, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's like we don't need all this filler. Give us more killer, less filler.
Yeah,
So
let's go.
let's get there sooner than later, PWI. Let's get there sooner than later.
But PWI does, you know, cover pretty much like any promotion like that's drawing people. So, you know, like it's a cool list to go through, and it's a cool tool for checking out maybe some brands that we haven't checked out before, or whoever's reading the list, you know, hasn't checked out before. But going down the top 10 real quick, we got Seth Rollins at number 1. We got Roman Reigns at number 2. And finishing out the Shield, we have Jon Moxley at number 3. Number 4 is Gunther. Number 5 is El Hijo del Vikingo, who had a good year, but we'll talk about it. And he comes before MJF at number 6, followed by Kazuchika Okada, and then at number 8, Orange Cassidy. Number 9, Josh Alexander. And number 10, Cody Rhodes. So a list of people that I think are deserving, you know, like I think all those names have done something this year. But the placement of them is a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think the immediate one that everybody probably thought was MJF being way too low.
MJF being number 6 is kind of crazy.
That's way too low in my opinion. He should have been top 3.
And I think, and to also say the criteria that they base things off of are championships held and defended, win-loss record, push, and technical ability.
Wasn't it quality of competition too, or something, in storylines or something like that?
I didn't see that on the description I got from their website.
Okay, so you're on PWI. That's probably the official one.
But that could be the case. If so, I'm still so confused.
Yeah. I mean, I think your confusion comes from like the very logical place of MJF being at 6 and Roman Reigns being at 2. And that's nothing against Roman Reigns because we love Roman Reigns. We acknowledge our tribal chief. Reigns.
Nothing against him, but it's strange.
And to be fair, neither one of them have wrestled that much. But MJF, has already wrestled more this year, I think, than he did last year, right? I think he has.
Yeah.
So,
and this is July to July, so we could say that the Adam Cole MJF stuff was just kicking off around July, I guess.
yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, definitely his hottest story as champion to this point. So, I think next year he'll definitely, I mean, I hope he's hired because, man, here's the thing, right? So, I got talked off of the ledge of not wanting Mox and Roman in the top 3. My little brother was like, hey, you got to put some respect on Mox's name, even though I've had a huge love-hate relationship with Jon Moxley this last year. Like, it's like one second he does something I love, and the next second he's doing some shit, and I'm like, who the fuck let this man breathe oxygen? You know what I mean?
Like, amazing foresight to know that when you take.
I think that and this is just going for that top, like, we'll go top 6. Talking about that for now. Vikingo, I mean, we were talking about it before we pressed record, and maybe we don't watch AAA enough. Maybe we don't watch CMLL enough. Maybe we don't know enough about what's going on in Mexico. We obviously, like everyone else who follows American wrestling from week to week, we know how fucking good he is. Like, he's fucking great. He's the best high flyer in the world, and that's after me only seeing 3 matches of him. Like,
and I will say,
he's the best high flyer in the world.
I think it was the Kenny match, which really like put him on my map in AEW.
Yeah, on most people's, I would say, in America.
And I remember like people that like that I know, because I'm in like an age group of people that have kids that are like young kids that are super into like superheroes and stuff and all that. They were like showing that match to those kids, and they were like, "Whoa! Like, this dude is crazy," you know? Like,
yeah, he looks like a star.
Yeah,
like his entrance gear is awesome. His entrance is awesome. His moveset is like what you would give your player on a video game. You know what I mean? Like, he's all those things. But I don't think, you know. And correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody watching? You know, if you listen to this and you know me personally, let me know. I don't think he deserves to be top 5. I think putting him, especially right over MJF, is like even more of a like, I'm a wrestling nerd. I'm so smart. I know that he's better than MJF. Like, come on, bruh. Really? So I think that's the most egregious thing. But there's other little things that piss me off just as much. Moxley, I can live with. Roman, I guess I can live with because he's fucking Roman Reigns. But I really don't think that he should have been number 2. I think Cody should have been significantly higher. Orange Cassidy being higher than Cody to me is kind of like, I love Orange. I said it on the last episode. Not enough sizzle with the steak, man. Or not enough steak with the sizzle.
Stop fucking up your sayings, bro.
Steak with the sizzle.
I disagree about the Orange thing. I think he's had a great run. The ending was even better, but the ending doesn't fall within this, thing.
Yeah.
But he was on TV every week, being like kind of the star match of the show every time. In my opinion, as far as like singles go, and he finally got to headline All Out, which was outside of this, but
he was the Iron Man for them for sure.
Yeah, for
this past year, for sure. I mean, I would say I would flip him and Cody. I'd have him 10, Cody 8. I guess you got to put Josh Alexander on there because was the Impact World Champion through pretty much the whole entire criteria, and he had some great matches too. But I would flip those 2. I think Orange definitely deserves to be top 10, though. I'd flip those 2.
I've been watching a lot of Josh Alexander promos lately. I don't get it, but
for me, it's the headgear. I can't do the headgear. But he's great. He's a great wrestler. He's great in the ring.
And then his promos are like worse, more still teary Cody promos. Like, that's
he's an All-American boy, baby. He's another All-American boy.
I don't know, man. I don't mean to shit on him, but I'm just like, I don't get it.
Yeah, respect to Josh. I mean, if you're I think it's one of those things where you're the company's world champion probably has to be. So the Impact World Champion was in the top 10. The WWE, both WWE champions were in the top 10. AEW's champion was in the top 10.
Yeah, but then
Okada,
if you're going,
is Okada the New Japan champion right now?
No, Sonata's the New Japan champion.
Sonata was 11, right?
Mhm.
Sonata's 11, isn't he? So he barely. I mean, yeah. So,
But
and it's been
he
a
could have
down
taken
year
it
for
off
New
Okada. I don't know the timeline. He could have taken it off Okada during this time period, so Okada could have been the champion during it. So yeah, like including everybody is great, and you're still including both, like, because I consider the what is it, the
International
international
title.
champion
I
the
was just about to bring
same
that up.
as the intercontinental, and
Yeah.
in my opinion, those are the number 2 belts. You know,
Yeah, Gunther, and we didn't say anything about Gunther, but he's just right.
no, Gunther's just right.
He's
Gunther's where
perfect
he
right
needs
there.
to be.
That's perfect. Gunther and Seth. I think Seth and Gunther are the 2 least arguable ones in the top 10.
He's put on incredible matches, and apparently they're going off Roman Reigns shit, where like it's just like, you know, he doesn't do.
Everybody's unbeatable.
He doesn't talk promos, but he's like,
yeah,
you know, he has 2 people that do the story for him, and he at least wrestled this year, you know, like a bunch.
Oh yeah,
Roman wrestled. He wrestled every pay-per-view, I guess. So
he's main evented every pay-per-view too. So I mean,
he's put in work, you know, I guess. But it's still just crazy that he's there, and like Sami Zayn is like 22 or something.
That's what I was going to dive into too, with some of the other names. People like Will Ospreay should have been top 10 to me,
especially based off of like the criteria of this. You know,
like Will Ospreay not being in the top 10.
Will Ospreay not being in the top 10. Danielson not being in the top
10. That's my other one. Danielson. And here we go. If Roman Reigns is allowed to be number 2 and only wrestled 5 matches, like every match that Danielson has had has been damn near 5-star match, if not a 5-star match. I mean, Patrick, we know you throw around 5-star matches like, you know, like STDs in the 80s, but
STDs
I mean,
now,
even
bro,
I will say,
get out there.
Even I will say, every match Danielson has had in that window has been, if not a 5-star classic, like 4 3/4, Dave Meltzer. So
no, I know, I agree with you, and look, I love Claudio. He's had a year.
He's too high. He's way too high.
But he's way too high.
Way too high, for sure. And let's be real. We're talking about like criteria, and what was one of them? Like storyline, meaningful storylines, or something like that.
That wasn't on the list that I saw. It was just championships held, defended, which would work. Win-loss record, which would work.
Okay.
Push. He's gotten a push. And technical ability. So yeah, I guess it falls into those criteria.
I mean, I'll say this about,
but Will fucking Ospreay shouldn't be.
Like, and I'll say this about like that championship and the international championship and kind of the TBS championship right now too, which I hope they kind of break out of this. Like, I've noticed this thing that Tony does, where he's like, "We're gonna have you have a crazy match every week, and that's it. We'll give you no backstage vignette." Give you no storyline. It's like, bro, do something to make these runs. Like, that was my problem with Orange Cassidy. Like, his run was so great. But, like, it could have been one of the greatest runs of all time if he had just had 2 feuds that were, like, meaningful.
I think
the Moxley thing was great at the end.
The Moxley thing was great, and then I thought the Swerve thing was fine.
But it, like, didn't pay any dividends. It was, like, 2 weeks long. Like, we knew Orange was going to win. Because Swerve had been losing every week, and they weren't going to let Swerve beat him.
Did he not beat Swerve for the final time on a pay-per-view, though?
It was on TV, I'm pretty sure. Or was it at a pay-per-view? I can't remember. He wrestled every week. Orange Cassidy was wrestling every goddamn
week. The Orange Cassidy thing, I think, where we had the disagreement is, like, that belt is supposed to be that. Like, that's what that belt is. And it's just like... I don't know. It's like the Intercontinental Champ, where Gunther has storylines, but not really. Like, it's like
his story is get these hands.
Yeah, he's slap, literally slap, like, slap, I will come out and I will slap you, and you will hurt at the end, and my 2 dudes will say some cheeky shit in between. You know, like, it's like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like,
but you know, on a positive note though, I think that the two secondary titles in both, well, arguably whatever the secondary title is in WWE, because we don't know which one it is, but the true secondary titles in the Intercontinental and the International, I think they're in the best place that they've been in. International titles have been fine, but the Intercontinental specifically is in the best place it's been in years, probably since like the Miz had it, like when him and Dolph Ziggler were feuding when Bryan was still in WWE. So,
And honestly, I would also say that like Seth is at 1, and that belt to me is the non-storyline belt. Like that's the fucking I'm gonna fight every week and be the fighting champion and blah blah blah. And
yeah,
you had the Shinsuke stuff, which was cool, but the way to get that belt being the weird like battle royale or whatever the fuck they did, or was it a four-way for that belt?
yeah, it was like a 4 to see who the number 1 contender was or some shit, right?
Yeah,
Like Shinsuke and
it just,
who else? I forget who else.
with those people, it set it up to me as like, oh yeah, this is the belt that's gonna be just like the Intercontinental champ. Like it's just like,
Yeah,
it's gonna be a dude that
belt.
fights.
It's the belt that whoever wins the Royal Rumble is gonna go for because they don't want that person to beat Roman. Like that's or the belt that whoever gets the Money in the Bank or Damian Priest is gonna go for.
Because I guess The Rock is in
Roman
the fucking
Reigns.
chamber until whenever he wants.
We didn't
to
even
wrestle.
talk. We didn't even talk about that pre-pod about the news about The Rock finally saying that he was supposed to be locked in to fight Roman, and he didn't really give an explanation as to why it didn't happen. But you know it's because he wasn't going to win, so that's probably why it didn't happen.
we can come back to it. We can
come back to that though.
I have some things to say on that. It's weird.
Can't believe we forgot about it. There's so much wrestling news we forgot to even like discuss that pre-pod.
I know, and this list is just like so strange that it kind of like took all our attention.
I mean, it's one of those things, man. Like it's, at the end of the day, it's all subjective for all of us. But there's just certain things that are egregious. Like we already said, MJF. There's no reason for him to be that low. Like I was looking deeper in the list, and like Edge is like number 50, and I'm like, shouldn't Edge be a little higher than number 50? Like, I get leaving Adam Cole out of the top 50 because he didn't really start to get hot until the last 4 months.
Well, he's been gone,
and he was hurt too for most of that time. I like that Joe was prominent on the list. What was he in the top 20? Joe was number 14.
Joe is number 14. That's a good place for him.
That's a good number for him, Ospreay at 17 is not bad. But like, look, you got Joe 14, Danielson 16, and Ospreay 17. Arguably, Danielson and Ospreay should be in the top 10. Like, legitimately.
I mean, if
Sami
we're going,
Zayn and Kevin Owens 21 and
like,
22.
I don't know what we're going off of here because like Adam Page is 28. He hasn't been here for like July to July. Like he didn't wrestle at all, I don't think.
Yeah,
maybe like
it's just
his weird like I'm sad promos or whatever, but
there's a lot of questions I have because I mean if you go deeper on the list, you got Darby Allin, who's lower than Austin Theory, which is like
wild.
Sheamus is lower than both of them, which is like
Sheamus
had a great year. He had a great year.
He had his best year in a long career.
Yeah, it's weird, man.
But he still couldn't beat Gunther in those hands, baby.
Maybe if he had to bring Gunther, he would have been higher. I don't know, man. This is just like,
It's a weird
like
list.
Pac number 90, Pac was barely on TV. I want to know what he was doing in England. I want to know what he was doing in England that got him in the top 100. Because he was in
every other promotion but the one we saw, baby.
That's what I'm saying. What matches did he have this year that granted him top 100? Please give us the receipts. I need to know because I need to watch them. So
I have no idea. But Danielson had like, I don't know. It's crazy to keep like harping on it. But Bobby Lashley at number 19.
I knew you had beef about that one.
Wild.
He's above Kevin and Sammy, who both had a much better year last year in WWE than him.
He's above Jericho, who won the fucking Ring of Honor belt.
Yeah. I don't know. Wrestler of the Year talk at the end of the year is going to be fun. but it's really going to be interesting to see what the critics say, since we're just marks and we don't know anything. Because just the other week when we were watching All Out, I was telling you and Eric, I was like, man, honestly, like, Eric, you and Moretta weren't too wrong about Brian right now. Like, he's looking to me like he could be a strong contender, and he's not even in the top 10 of their top 500. So, what do I know, I guess?
I
I
mean,
don't
and his
know.
period of being injured wasn't that long either, because the Okada match was June, right? June,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
20.
that's really fast to come back from a broken arm. Like, I'm scared for him. I hope he's got some type of stem cell shit or something going on. That's fast.
He might just.
I've had sprained ankles that took me longer to recover than it took him to come back from that broken
Yeah, but
broken
you're
arm.
fucking vaping and pouring malt liquor on your ankles, so you know, like it's not gonna come back that fast.
I think we've said enough about this goddamn list, man.
I know, yeah.
We've said enough about this goddamn list.
There's a yeah.
You know?
I mean, let's move on to The Rock, bruh. Let's
That's a good one to transition into. That's a good one.
because he is absent from this list, and he should be number one every year in The Rock's mind. He's the people's champ, baby. Yeah, I saw the SmackDown comeback. The weird
What did you think of it?
inclusion of Austin Theory again. I don't get why Vince McMahon has a hard on for that little dude, but like,
Now, was this past Friday? So that was when Vince was still running things, because Monday was the last day of the.
I mean, yeah, I guess he got that in right before he left.
He got that in at the very end. I thought, you know what? I thought, in comparison to when Austin Theory has been put in positions to look like a piece of shit, he looked like, you know, the turd was floating this time. He wasn't submerged. You know, like he wasn't bad. You know, he had a couple clapbacks.
He was doing good. I give too much
He
shit.
He did better. He did better than he normally does.
I just don't understand the push for this man all the time. And like the only thing I could come up with was like Vince is gonna make him do an impersonation of Stone Cold Steve Austin down the line so that he can sell Stone Cold t-shirts again. Like that's all I can think of.
I think that Austin is Austin, yeah. Austin is he's a great wrestler though. Like in ring, he's really good. He has great fundamentals.
It's just
they just give him shit. They give him shit. It's crazy to me though. They give him shit, and Dominic is a worse like natural speaker than Austin Theory, and like the storylines they give him are like fire. Look where he's at.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like it's like, man, if they gave him an ounce of like the type of storylines that they gave somebody like Dominic, who's a nepo baby, you know what I mean?
He's a nepo baby, but like I don't know. He's fucking with that goth mall look that everybody loves in WWE.
It's the mullet, man. The mullet is doing
mullet
it for him.
And goth chic, and I feel like Austin Theory is just like too white bread. You know, like he's too. He's like some dude we went to high school with that was like good at dodgeball or some shit. Like I don't know.
It's like they want him to be like an MJF type of heel, but he's not. I don't want to say talented. Well, maybe verbally talented enough to pull that off. I think that's what they're going for. They want him to be that like douche, like jockey type, but he's
that
just
was kind
not.
of the thing. Like while I was watching it too, I was just like, oh, are they just making like another Miz to replace the Miz? Like that's what I see a lot on WWE lately that I don't love. Where it's
Grayson Waller too. They got Grayson Waller doing the same thing as the Miz, and
and it's just like, are you just like building these dudes to be like, so we like what this template does, like let's do this forever. Because the Grayson Waller stuff, I even think is like not replacing the Miz, but it's gonna like replace like Corey Graves or some shit eventually.
And he's actually a good talker. Like he can talk.
I don't care about anything he says, but you know,
I don't care either. But yeah, he doesn't sound that bad. It sounds all right. He doesn't flub his lines.
Austin Theory to be placed in the situation with The Rock did pretty good. He did pretty good. It's just so strange that it keeps being him and not like
I was honestly like a little like nervous for him. I was like, oh god, here we go again. Because the John Cena one did not go well. And I was like, if John Cena ripped you a new asshole, lucky for Austin Theory, The Rock was a little bit rusty on the wrestling mic.
yeah.
A little bit rusty.
What did he say?
You know?
He was like I don't know. It was just like a very.
You could just tell he was. You could tell he was reaching for lines at certain points.
It was a very weak jab, but then he brought it back with the "you are an asshole" with the
the cheap heat.
It was cheap heat, but yeah, the jab like right before that I can't recall, but it was very like, all right. If anybody else said that, that would have not done what it just did.
Yeah.
It was cool to see him wrestle, kind of, you know.
Yeah, he hit the spine buster. I was like, okay.
He hit the spine buster good. Everything looked smooth. And then we get that news because he was on the Pat McAfee show, I guess, the day before or something. And
No. This was 100% a fucking publicity stunt because that shit came out that day.
Oh, it came out that day.
I was working, and I saw the clip that day, and then that night I was on YouTube and saw he came back and was like, okay, what's going on here, Rock? What's going on here? He's definitely at WrestleMania this year, right?
If he is, what a sad 2 years it's been for Cody Rhodes.
So I've heard the rumor is that he wants to do the Royal Rumble and fight Roman at the Royal Rumble.
That's fine.
So Cody can still have the Mania match, but it's like, this is my thing with all these you know what, we were talking about this before we came on too, about the RVD talking about Punk, and all these motherfuckers in their egos always fuck up everything. Because Rock should have just came back last year like he shook Vince's hand and said he was going to do and did the job, pal, even though he probably didn't want to do the job because he was trying to be fucking Black Adam with his big black dick all over the DC universe, ruining everything. So, I don't know, man.
Because it's weird because we talked about it afterwards, and that was kind of our biggest issue with Cody losing and doing the whole build-up, which... I mean, we're in September, and it's just like, bruh, is the buildup really there, you know? Or is Cody in the same spot that he was at the end of WrestleMania?
So can we put Cody Rhodes' loss on The Rock? Are we allowed to do that? Are we allowed to say Dwayne did that?
I think Roman had to do with it too, but but the thing is, like, you had this perfect match that would have had the perfect ending, and the only way that payoff makes sense is if you build him up to 40. And there hasn't really been a build up, I don't think. There was Brock, who's like a cool first opponent.
Yeah, I think Cody's in a feud with Dominic right now, which is like
cool,
but
let's build up Dominic instead of Cody. It's like,
yeah, I hope that he like ends up tangling with one of the Usos for a little bit, just to kind of
I guess
stay in
they
that
did
realm.
set up the like Sammy and KO bringing up that he's the reason why Jay is on Raw or whatever, right?
Yeah,
because Jay's on Raw and Jimmy's on SmackDown.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. It's just, all right. So you're going to beat Jey Uso, who was like the most interesting part of that story. And then what's left? Like this Brock character at the end. And that's if any of this even happens, because The Rock is still there. Like,
I was going to say, it's so like, no matter what we have to talk about, Dwayne, we love you, Dwayne. It's so interesting to see like how one person can like change the whole entire like landscape of all the storytelling. Like, it's so crazy. And this man, mind you, has not wrestled a match since what, 2014, something like that.
I don't even know. It was during
It
the
has to be
period when
since
I wasn't even
2014.
watching.
Yeah, it has to be 2014 or 2013. So it's
Oh, the
like,
two Cena matches, I guess, right? That was the last time.
yeah. But that pop though, that pop when he came out, that was insane. Like those people were not expecting to see The Rock, and you could tell. Like that was like,
I know, and on
and
TikTok I was seeing like rock fucking cuts with the new metal songs over it, and I was like getting all teary eyed and shit.
that pop was insane. And I think that's kind of why The Rock was a little shook when he went out there. He was like, damn, y'all miss me like that?
He was like, damn,
Like, yeah.
Black Adam wasn't good for my mental state, but
I thought they were gonna boo me when I
was
came out
doing
here.
great. I mean, he hit that people's elbow like a goddamn champ, you know?
He did. He did. And he looked good, man. He looked good. So one thing about Rock, he stay on that good juice.
He's on the best juice in the world. Yeah.
him and Billy Gunn got the same dealer, baby.
No, Billy Gunn's is dangerous. The Rock's is like fucking giving him massages while he's pumping it into his veins and shit.
Right. Billy's just like, stay down.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah. I don't. That stuff's scary too. And we're back. Aaron's fucking computer died. You would hope a grown man would plug things in.
Listen, that was look, plug it in like Billy Gunn plugs that fucking needle into his butthole. Fucking slurp up that fucking.
I don't know the ins and outs, but I think it's like it's not directly in your asshole. But
the way he looks, man, he might be boofing it.
I get scared for those dudes though. You know, like it's scary to like be like, hey man, you're like in your 50s. Maybe you shouldn't be taking enough steroids to like bring down a warship, you know?
Yeah,
like,
for sure. For sure. Off the rail comment. Gotta shout out Maven again, man. He posted a video the other day about steroids and literally showed like all the shit he was taking when he was in WWE. And he was like, and I got it all under a prescription. I was like, damn, that's crazy. But anyway, don't do drugs, ladies and gentlemen.
Maven, shout out to his channel, doing the Lord's work. Who made that crazy post the other day? That was like,
the one I sent in the group chat. I can't. Oh, was it Al Snow? I don't know if it was Al Snow.
It was not Al Snow.
Who was it? I got it. It's so funny.
Oh, it was Val Venus.
Val Venus is.
Y'all go check out Val Venus's Twitter.
Unhinged, bro.
Bless that man's heart. I don't know. I don't know what's going through his head.
He said this shot's gotta stop. Unhinged, bro. And it's unhinged.
If we're talking conspiracy theories, him and Bobby Fish are hanging out.
Look, they might be worse than Jesse the Body Ventura with that one, because that was a bad one. That was a bad one. But yeah, shout out to The Rock though, man. Shout out to The Rock.
Shout out to Rock. He did a great comeback. Let's see where it goes now.
Yeah.
Will it ruin WrestleMania 40?
That's the question. Look, and also, bro, they got Cena back right now. They got Rock back right now. I mean, Edge is gone, but everybody forgot about that nigga. They said, shit, we got Cena and The Rock back now. What you want to do?
Will it break the curse of every 10 years anniversary of WrestleMania being an actual good WrestleMania where the person that all the like fans wanted to win wins? We'll see if The Rock can break that.
See if Cody can break that.
if so, Daniel Bryan had a great WrestleMania 30, and that'll go down.
Right.
Because I think it was 30 was Bryan.
Kofi, but Kofi beat Bryan, so we didn't care who won that one because it was like Bryan, Kofi doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think it is like beating big people because 30 was Bryan, 20 was Benoit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
And then 10 was like Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart or something. I think it was Bret Hart.
Yeah, I think it was Bret because Shawn won the IC title that night from Razor. I think it was Bret. Yeah, you're kind of right. We'll see.
Let the little man win, please.
And then, in between all those years, it's always the two dudes that no one wants to see in the main event, like Hogan Andre or Cena fucking Randy Orton or Roman Brock Lesnar
Yeah.
for 7 years straight.
Cody
You know?
did everything that he was supposed to do to get to this point. He got a neck tat that's the size of Bobby Lashley's ass on his neck.
Look,
This?
he's like Donald Trump and Roman Reigns with the indictments. I did everything right. They indicted me. I did everything right. Instead of a perfect phone call, it's a perfect tattoo. Perfect tattoo. It's a perfect tattoo.
Perfect tattoo. He dressed like the Homelander because he was like
God.
Vince loves villains.
Oh my God. Let's leave Devontae alone, man.
I know.
Devontae
But
alone.
look, Cody did everything he needed to do. Give it to him at 40. Don't give it to The Rock and Roman. I don't really give a shit about seeing that, honestly.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a side thing. I don't want it to be
at the
I'm
Rumble.
sorry.
At the Rumble, it would be cool. Like if they fought at the Rumble, and
if
Roman
they
beats
did
him
what
at the
Stone
Rumble.
Cold and KO did,
Yeah.
like what, a year ago.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
It would be cool if like they fought at the Rumble. Rikishi comes out, he's like, "I did it for The Rock," and like fucking kicks Roman in the face. Roman still has the Usos come out and face off with their daddy and figures out a way to win. I don't know, some shit like that. But Rikishi has to come out. You need to see Rikishi. Or you could do The Rock versus one of the Usos, and Rikishi comes out to help his his son against
the Usos haven't like established like themselves as a
Jay. I can see Jay versus The Rock.
not as like a singles. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
You're right.
yes.
You're right. Rock is just so like he's The Rock. He is The Rock.
I could see the Usos fighting each other, and
At Mania, I think that's what I think they should go that direction for Mania.
And then Rikishi comes out and he's like, "Don't touch my son, but you're also my son."
And then Solo comes out and is like, "Fuck that shit." And spikes his dad in the throat.
Spikes his dad, and then the Usos and Solo dance in the middle of the ring over their dad's unconscious body.
Yo, we're getting off the rails, man. Not to the Too Cool theme song. That would be hilarious. That would be fucking hilarious, actually. That would be hilarious.
They bring out Scotty Too Hottie. He's fucking doing the worm.
Hey, Scott can still go, baby.
Yeah, I know he can.
He can still go.
He's there. Yeah, I guess before we get too off the rails and crazy.
It's too late. It's too late.
It's too late. Well, I guess before we switch over to like AEW stuff, we'll finish with like WWE merger with Endeavor happened this week. And apparently like 100 people from the office were laid off. Do you think that's just like a cleaning up thing or a kind of indicator of what is to come with maybe mass layoffs in wrestlers of WWE?
I mean, first of all, it always sucks to, hear that people got to lose their jobs.
Yeah.
From what I understand, from what I've heard from the experts, since we're just marks here, by the way, everyone, we're just some losers.
We're idiots.
Drinking coffee and beer in our mom's basement right now. But from what I understand, it's like a customary thing when a big corporation buys another one that they lay people off. But that begs the question, like, do you really have to, or is this just capitalism at work here? You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
And is it laying off just to lay like people off, or is it laying off to like be like, we have people that are great and we want them to come
in those positions? That's a good question. That's a good question. That's.
And then it's like, cool. Now we have a bunch of UFC people. Shayna will finally get that push.
Apparently, and I'm not. You watch more combat sports than I do outside of wrestling.
I watch more boxing, but
yeah, I'll catch the big fight, twice a year or something like that, whether it's boxing or UFC. But from what I gather, Dana White wants to make sure that WWE and UFC are like not being mentioned that often together because he doesn't like that. And I feel like I've heard that a lot of UFC fans feel that way too. But I don't want to believe that because I feel like in 2023, when everything is just so like, turned up to the umph degree, it's like, why the fuck not? You know what I mean? Why the fuck not have fucking?
I don't want to see that.
Why not
shit.
have Chad Gable sitting ringside at a fucking UFC fight? Like.
I don't want to see any
Have Chael's son
crossover.
and have Chael's son and commentate for WWE.
They had that a couple of years ago with like the Brock match and then Undertaker.
Oh,
in
that
the
Brock
crowd.
match was so not the UFC match. I thought you were talking about Cain Velasquez and Brock. That match.
Oh no! They had that too. God damn it! So
terrible.
much stupid shit.
Bad. But I do remember when Undertaker was in the crowd. That was so dumb. The Undertaker was like in the crowd at a Brock fight, like,
and everybody was confused. They were like, "Do they have like backstage heat?" But they were trying to do like an angle or something. Like it was like, I don't think this is the place to do it. And Brock's all jacked off on fucking adrenaline and Bush beer or something. I don't fucking know, but like he's going, so I don't think he has time for a WWE story, my dude.
Yeah, I will say though, I do think that so far what I've seen and heard from the Endeavor side of things, not from their side, but just from what they've been doing, it seems like it may actually be a pretty good transition, and it might bode well for the business of WWE, because Nick Khan was in an interview with Bill Simmons recently. And Bill Simmons was asking Nick Khan a lot of like storyline centered questions. Nick Khan is really a money guy, and Nick Khan sounds like he's like studied the history of WWE, which is really impressive for like a billionaire executive who like you would think doesn't care at all about the product. I think Bill Simmons asked him. He said, "So, are you guys gonna like do a storyline with like Test from back in the day and bring him back and have him do XYZ?" And Nick Khan, without hesitation, said, "Well, actually, Test died a few years ago." So, like, the normal wrestling fan probably wouldn't know that Test died, but Nick Khan did. So that means he's been doing a little bit of his homework.
Yeah, but
so that's cool to see. That's cool to see.
That's cool.
It doesn't mean anything, but, it means, like, hey, maybe they're paying attention. Who knows to what the fans think,
Yeah, he's paying attention to be like, how many wrestlers die a year so that I can put that into finances and like figure out how many we're going to have to hire. And, like, I don't think it's anything past that, but maybe he's just like real stoked on WWE. I don't fucking know, but
I was surprised. I was like, damn, he knows who Test is. Okay.
But yeah, I mean that's just like a weird thing, and we'll see what happens as this merger continues.
I will say this though. One thing to kind of like piggyback off the TKO thing, the fucking merger. It's kind of unrelated, but kind of related. I've been avoiding the whole like slap fight thing, right? And I was at my homie's house the other night. We were drinking some tequila, and the YouTube just like randomly started auto playing videos by itself. It was on mute, and it started playing the fucking, I guess, Ultimate Fighter version of like the slap fights. And dude, the men, I can't watch the men because it's just so visceral. Like people look like they're about to die.
They're the ones. They are the UFC ones that are on after or were on after AEW.
Yeah, the slappers. But they showed the women, bro. Yo, the women slap fights are kind of lit because it's like it doesn't look like they're gonna kill each other. Like it's not like a fucking tree trunk hitting somebody in the side of the face, so it's like not as bad to watch, I guess.
But I think any open hand to the face is like.
I was genuinely like invested for a second. Like this woman slapped this woman and like knocked her out for a second, and the woman woke up, and the woman who like slapped her and knocked her out like started crying, and the girl who got knocked out was hugging her and it's like, it's okay, and I'm like, what type of fucking lunacy is this shit?
Yeah, Aaron's like, it doesn't look like they're just like murdering each other. So this lady that got knocked out, that was fully concussed.
Let me just say, like, listen.
Woke up, scared the other lady because she thought she killed her.
One thing I learned
doesn't seem dangerous to me.
One thing I learned in that moment is that none of us are immune to car crash television. That shit was pulling my heartstrings.
Man, we grew up in the early 2000s. That's like the only thing that was on.
I've
TV.
been trying so hard. I'm like, what the fuck is this slap shit? But for some reason, maybe it's the tequila. I was like, yo, this is crazy. But anyway, had to get that nugget in there.
The Mechanicsville came out in you.
It did. It really did.
Well, yeah, I know. I can watch it for a little bit, and then I'm just like,
We need to hit up Jamie McClure and see if he watches the slap fights. He probably loves that shit.
He definitely does. He definitely does. That's top show. It's number one show.
Love you, Jamie. I hope you're listening, by the way.
Yeah.
Hope you're listening.
Let's see. Moving on from slap fighting and Dana White to Jade leaving AEW for WWE. What you think, bro?
It was bound to happen.
It was definitely bound to happen.
It was bound to happen.
I 100% think it was a good move for Jade. I don't see her doing bad in WWE.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I mean, even, with how she left and how, like, good she got over a small period of time, I could see her fucking Brock Lesnar in that goddamn division. Like,
yeah. There's going to be a lot of great matchups.
Who's on like the level of monster of Jade?
I mean, I think the only people like that are Rhea and Bianca. I mean, Bianca is a face, so it's a straight up white meat baby face, so it's a little different. But as far as like,
but Bianca's like leaving,
beefy,
right? She's not.
Is she? Oh, that's interesting.
I think there was some news about her like leaving for a little bit or something.
She deserves a break regardless. So she's been running hot and hard for a long time.
Rhea, and then what's her name?
Raquel.
Raquel.
Nia Jax. Nia Jax just came back this past week too.
Why?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. I don't know.
Why did they bring Nia Jax back? To break more people's noses? And
that's the angle. They're apparently playing it up that she hurts people. And her and Rhea is the
cool story.
But yeah, it's gonna the
storylines that she hurts people and then she gets in the ring and actually hurts people. My God.
I still need to watch Stevie Richards' breakdown video of her return because I haven't watched her return yet, but I heard it wasn't good.
The Rock's pull is farther reaching than I thought.
Yo, I'm telling you, one man, in the immortal words of Kanye West, no one man should have all that power. But anyway, yeah, no, she's got a lot of really interesting matchups over on that side of things. I think the really cool thing about this whole Jade situation is I can tell she has a great team of people around her because just a month ago, we thought she was never going to wrestle again. Like, she put out there in the ethos, like, I'm done wrestling. And then she comes back, has her best match she's ever had, and literally says, I'm going to WWE. That's a badass boss move right there. That's how you make moves right there. You know what I mean? So,
and then is there also a thing in recent memory? Definitely not WWE to AEW. But AEW to WWE, which I don't even know. Maybe Cody is the only one that's done that seriously.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you got Brian Pillman, but he's going to NXT, and he hasn't really debuted yet, so we don't know what's going on. The question with Jade is...
But they gave Jade a good goodbye.
They did. Now, do you put her on NXT, or do you main roster her? If you're
you main roster her immediately. What are you talking about?
There's been debate. I think main roster as well.
I don't see why the hell you would put her on NXT.
And WWE put out a statement, I think, about her coming in, and it sounds like she's going to be on the main roster. And she's got a pretty hefty contract on the table too. Apparently, she's getting paid pretty well too.
I mean, yeah, it just doesn't make sense when like half of the main roster is greener than Jade is.
Yeah,
so, like,
and I heard somebody that made a really good point the other day. I can't remember who it was, but they said, in so many words, they were like, Jade is the type of wrestler where, like, yeah, maybe you think that she does need to be polished up a little bit more, but you throw her on TV and let her do it in the ring on TV because, much like Goldberg, it's like her star is just so big that her wrestling can catch up. We don't need her
from Goldberg. They put her on TV. And they threw her in the fire.
Yeah, yeah.
And she got good quickly.
And in WWE too, like look at LA Knight. Love LA Knight, but you don't need to be like a 5-star match person at all in WWE. You know what I mean? You can get away with She's just like she's a Cena type. She's a Cena type. She's 3 moves of doom. She's a choke slam. She's a scissor kick. She's a power slam, or like what's that? The fall away slam she does.
But the stat match, they were doing the slaps good.
Oh yeah,
they were doing the in between shit like really well. Like I don't think it's just the 3 moves.
Well, yeah, I wasn't trying to take anything away from her, but I was saying in WWE she doesn't need it.
She doesn't.
She doesn't need as much as she used in that match in WWE. She really to get over.
I mean, she's never using as much as she did in that match ever again.
And when she gets to WWE, they're going to tell her not to. They're going to be like, please don't do that.
She's doing clothesline, finisher.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's going to be fun. I can't wait to see her like job out like people who we really like Alexa Bliss. Like I can't wait for her to like go against Alexa Bliss and just beat her in like 2 minutes.
I think that's why Alexa Bliss like left again, right?
Yeah.
She's like,
and then the marks are going to get on the internet and be like, why is WWE pushing Jade Cargill so hard? But like you guys like Jade Cargill, don't you want her to get pushed so hard? Like,
I love Jade. I hope she just runs through that division. I hope she beats up Rhea too. I hope that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here for it.
If anything, she is the AEW missile that we sent over to fuck the WWE.
It just sucks she can't say cut the shit anymore, but cut the crap.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound as good. Cut the crap.
She'll figure something else out.
Yeah.
They'll still put her child in the crowd on the matches that she wins. And
That's another question. Winning. Do you think she comes in as a face or a heel? That's the other question.
Heel.
You think so?
Yeah. She was a heel her whole AEW run.
Yeah. I think people are gonna pop.
She was still kind of a heel this last match, but I think everybody like recognized it was her last match. So
yeah,
you got like the stat hug at the end and stat holding up.
She did business great too. She didn't have boo boo face on. She looked excited to be out there. Like if the news didn't leak, you wouldn't have known that was her last AEW match.
I thought I was going crazy for like a year with the stat being out stuff, being like, am I the only one that thinks stat's gonna win? Like when
you were really beating that drum hard.
Me, Loretta, and Eric, we were all like convinced in because when she left, like she was on. That was what it was supposed to be. And we were just like, are they still going to do that? And they did it. And Jade did business and took a break. And, like she looked awesome in that match. Yeah.
Piggybacking the stat, not to cut you off. Yeah, I just hope that much like Jade's run with that title, right? Name one story besides the first pay-per-view match I saw her have with Nyla. Besides Nyla, name one impactful story that she had with that belt.
Who? Stat or Jade?
Jade.
Red Velvet, I guess.
Because I don't know, because I wasn't watching. I just wanted to. So
Red Velvet was like a big. Okay. She was like a underdog who kept losing, and then once she lost enough, joined Jade. And then Ruby.
Okay, Ruby's tangled with everybody in the story. It seems like.
But the Ruby Jade stuff was like, you thought Ruby was gonna win. It was the only person in a while you thought like Ruby could win.
Right.
And Jade would have probably had boo boo face at that.
She would have been like, I'm not losing to her. What?
That's probably why she didn't lose. But
so I will say though, I hope that stat gets something to sink her teeth into story wise.
I think if they keep the Brit thing going and
that's what I was going to get to is they should keep her in Brit because that was Brit's best match in a long time.
Because honestly, once Jamie comes back, I'm not going to want to see Brit anywhere near the main belt. So
unless she's fighting with Jamie Hayter, like I don't want to see them together. I don't want to see them. Oh, is that what you're saying? Against each other? I'd rather see them against each other. Like I don't want them together.
Yeah, I don't want them together ever again. Yeah. I didn't care about it and they were building, I think, towards, like them turning on each other, but it just was taking so fucking long because,
Jamie kept
like
getting
we were
hurt.
talking about before, there's one 20-second segment for women
For the women,
each
yeah.
show.
Yeah.
And hey, they have been giving it to Toni Storm lately, which is awesome. She's been crushing. Yeah, my heart goes out to you, Tony. I don't know what you were doing for the rest of your AEW run, but this has been golden. This
Juice
has been
Robinson, Juice, if I see you in public,
so good.
square up. Square up. And I'll take this ring off too. Square up. No, let me stop playing.
But
yeah,
she's
man.
been great.
Yeah. She's been great. I think that's what made that Britt and Stat match even better, though. Kind of moving past Jade a little bit. Is what you were saying about the whole, like, when Moretta was quoting all those stats about the women's matches last show, which if you guys are watching and haven't seen the clip from last show talking about the AEW women's division, Moretta had a lot of great information that she shared with us, including that there hasn't been a match over 10 minutes for the women on Dynamite in, what she said, like 2 years.
It's been a while, yeah.
And there's only been one match on Dynamite for women in 2 years. So to see that collision
I think
match,
was it for women in general, or was it just a singles match?
I think it was singles. There's only been one singles women's match per show for 2 years, and it's been 10 minutes or less. I think that's what she was saying. So yeah, to see that match on Collision, I think they went at least like 15 to 17 minutes. They had a pretty good amount of time.
Yeah, but the Rampage, Jade, and Stat match was still short, I think. I think it was only like 10
that was about 10 minutes too. But they did a lot in that 10 minutes though.
They did great. Yeah, Britt, I loved Britt's championship run, and I loved like what she did before the championship run. And she hasn't really felt like a champ since she lost the title, because she immediately went into like the Jamie Hayter stuff, and just seemed like Jamie's friend. And then when Jamie was gone and it was back to her being like a singles person again, it just seemed like she was a little rusty,
Yeah, for
a
sure.
little rusty on
sure.
On not just the wrestling, but the like confidence of like, I'm a fucking champion, and the Statlander match on Collision, she came out to like crazy applause, had awesome gear.
The gear was great.
And was smooth as hell in the ring.
That's the best match I've seen her have in months.
And then like the holding up the hand at the end for Britt or whatever, and Britt just like looking at the belt the whole time. I was like, DMD back, baby. Like,
like I was telling you, I wish that I would have watched Rampage before Collision this week, because that promo she gave on Rampage was talk about getting her confidence back. That's the best I've heard her sound in forever. She sounded like a serious contender. So keep that up, Britt. I think that the AEW women's division, I think they understand that they've, there's a few people in that division right now. They understand what's at stake. I think Stat is great in the ring. I just haven't seen the willingness to take it. Like Britt took it with that promo. Like Tony's been taking it with these promos. Hell, Soraya has been fucking killing it in her promos lately. And I have not liked almost anything she's done since she came back. And she's been very good lately.
I think Stat's relying a lot on like the orange underdog thing right now.
But she's too big to be doing that.
But like her career is the underdog, but yeah, I think
she's
now
bigger than all those women.
Now that you've beaten Jade twice and Britt, beat Jade and Britt in one weekend, with no interference, you have to be like a dominant champ now.
One of Chris Statlander's thighs is the same width as Britt Baker's torso. Ain't got no reason being underdog. Come on now, Stat. Come on now.
She's got bum knees,
I will say too, going back to that Britt match, we're spending a lot of time on that, but it was a great match. It was probably the match of the week. I thought her psychology looked the best it's looked. The way she was working the knee on Stat, the false finish where she hit the sling blade, then she hit the little chicken wing Christopher Daniels move, the fallen angel or whatever, the broken angel. Then she hit the stomp. That false finish almost got me because I thought she was going to lose. I didn't think she was going to win, but Eric kind of planted the seed in my head of like, I think Britt's going to win. And when I saw that, I was like, damn, she could have won it right there.
Close. She
could have won it.
Close. And that's a cool ending that makes me think we'll see more of that. I don't think it's over. Also, shout out to QTV for still making me interested in y'all every week. Like, it's so weird.
It's only because Johnny Mundo's with them now, or Johnny whatever his name is.
I have never, ever, ever in my life cared about that man.
I love that man.
But the promo that he did where he's like, QT's out beating the hell out of luchadors, so we brought a luchador in. And then just made him like stand in front of everybody while he kicked him in the stomach.
That was great.
I was like, this is amazing. I don't know what's happening. It seems chaotic, but I'm into it.
And then what's her name? The Australian rapper chick pulls a pair of scissors out like she's about to kill him. I'm like, what are you doing?
I need to learn her name because she is amazing.
I love her. She's great.
She's the one that sings every time when they come in or whatever.
She raps, bro. She's a rapper.
I thought she sang.
I guess she sings too. What happened to her and the Acclaims beef? I guess that's over. I guess.
Oh, maybe she just rapped for that beef, but yeah, it's a lot over there in the QT domain.
I mean, well, we know Smart Mark Sterling doesn't have anything to do now that Jade's gone, so maybe he joins QTV.
Yeah, Smart Mark should just stay on that.
Don't talk about your gray brothers like that, man. Don't talk about your brother in grays like that, man. Come on now.
We are gray with a full set of hair, so
great haircuts too. Y'all both have great haircuts, you know.
Blessed. Yeah. I guess moving on to our last thing, and leaving my grays out of it.
Don't tell me we got to talk about this guy, don't we?
We're going to talk about CM.
If only.
All right. So we'll do this question, and that way we can, kind of bypass a lot of the CM Punk do you, don't you like him stuff, which has been covered ad nauseum for like weeks now. Do you think that he goes to WWE?
Oh, man. This kind of goes to what I was saying earlier about they've got Cena and Rock now.
Yeah, but Cena and Rock are very much like, we are the WWE. We play by the WWE rules.
And they're only going to be there for, but so long. Punk would probably be around for like, what, a year, 2 years maybe.
Yeah.
I think right now, the timing is just not the best.
I don't think so either. I don't think he goes there. If he does, I feel like it ruffles some feathers. Like, you have people that are on top now. And not saying like they have the same mindset as their friends, but you have like Sammy and KO doing a lot over there, who are very good friends with, Bucks and Kenny and stuff
Cody.
Like that.
Well, there's rumors that Punk was part of the reason that Cody left. There's rumors of that, There's been whispers.
Does that coincide with the same time period, though?
I don't think that it's true, but I've heard people hypothesize that maybe like, he knew that there was some talks going on with Punk, and he didn't want to. That was part of the reason why he didn't want to be around.
I'm so kind of confused now because
I never said that. I don't believe that, but I've heard that.
No, I'm just trying to remember if Punk and Cody were there at the
same time. They were there at the same time because
they were there at the same time. Okay.
Yeah. So I've heard people hypothesize that anything is possible with this man at this point.
Yeah.
Seth has said it. Now, granted,
he did in an interview. in an interview recently, he said like he kind of backstepped that and was like, "I would love to wrestle Punk." You know?
And I was trying to tell, like my brother was telling me about that, and I was like, "Dude, he was in character," and he was like, "But he said it though," and I'm like, "But like he was in character, you know." But
yeah,
I do think there's probably there's a little bit of truth to that, probably.
I think Seth has always like talked pretty good about Punk. Otherwise, like as a helpful person. So I don't know. I don't think he goes to WWE right now. And if he does, just everything we just talked about, like what the fuck happens in WWE with
I'm gonna be honest.
there?
I'm gonna be honest. I'll be honest right now. I don't want to see him in WWE. I don't want to. I feel like as much as I would love to have another CM Punk run that I am completely actually here for, because this AEW run I didn't start watching until right after. Well, I was watching a little bit during the Brawl Out, but like around the Brawl Out era is when I started watching from week to week. So I didn't see his whole run. WWE, I had to go back and watch all the CM Punk stuff. Ring of Honor, I had to go back and watch some of the CM Punk stuff. So I would love, as much as I would love as a wrestling fan to experience a whole CM Punk run for myself in real time. I don't want to see him in WWE because I'll put it to you this way. I think in AEW, he was perfect for that company and what they were trying to do. And his character fit that company perfect for the time because he will always be known as the guy who shit on WWE on the way out and got into a big, litigious battle with them.
I will also say, like, I never cared about Punk in WWE. Like, I started watching again towards the tail end of his run, and I just was never that into him. But I was here for, like, the Punk coming to AEW stuff, and Punk wrestling every week, and having pretty fucking sick feuds with everybody.
Yeah.
So I can say he did fit with this company. He did fit with it very well. With AEW, of course. And he put a lot into it. His negatives have kind of outweighed the positives on the way out, I think.
Yeah, that's the worst part about it, is that he did so much good, but he's just, you know.
They built a whole show around you, and you still kind of started shit with a bunch of people. You know, like, it's like...
Yeah.
And, hey, Jack Perry should have been fired. I stand by that. Like, I still stand by that.
I don't think either one of them should have been fired, because what happened...
Well, I'm saying if Punk got fired because of it, then...
Because Brawl Out, there was a fucking actual fucking brawl and nobody got fired. But as soon as Punk chokes a man, I guess it was because it was the second strike, but that's besides the point. I think that the reason that Punk worked so well in AEW, though, was that he was unique in AEW. Like, there was nobody else like him in AEW. And
he brought a lot of, like, cool attitude.
Yes.
That I feel like should be in AEW, but the comedy sometimes outdoes the attitude that needs to be there.
Yeah.
And I think Mox does a good job of bringing, like, a similar Punk attitude to it. But Punk's, like, a little more precise than Mox. Because Mox, like I say on this podcast a lot, Mox is going to mox at times, and you have no idea what that means, because I don't know, you know? He's just
Yeah. I think that Punk's uniqueness would be a little bit lost in WWE, though, because I think there's already people in WWE that are very similar style of characters to Punk.
And I think WWE is also for a generation that's too young now to see... For the most part, I think.
Yeah.
It's too young now to see, like, even the Punk aspect of his, you know, like,
for sure,
or the straight edgeness or whatever.
For sure. And it's like, it's crazy to say, but I mean, Punk's a big star. Of course, he's a draw. He's a marquee name, but I mean, there's probably 6 guys in WWE right now that are bigger names than him. You know, do they really need him?
I mean, if you
You
brought
know,
Seth Rollins over,
he'd get a bigger pop than Punk. I mean, he wouldn't get a bigger pop than Punk ever got. I'm not going to say that, but he
I don't
would.
think that, but
He would probably help that company more than Punk helped it while he was there. Just relevance. What have you done for me lately? You
I
know.
do think Punk tried to help when he wasn't getting in fights with people. You know, like I
Yeah,
think like
yeah. I think AEW needed and still needs what Punk has as far as experience and knowledge of the business.
I think
More so than to come to combat the moxing, they need a Punk. Is what I'm saying. You know,
and I think they had
like
that with like Jericho at first.
Brian's that a little bit too. Brian's that
And
a
I
little bit
think
too.
Brian is definitely that.
Yeah,
But Punk, I think, assumes that role more than any of them did.
yeah.
Or maybe does it in the same way Jericho does, but everybody's like, that's Jericho. It's like, he's Jericho, you know?
Getting to your RVD thing that you brought up at that interview, RVD made a good point in that interview where he was like, "There's a difference between the locker room leader that we all choose to be the locker room leader and the one that makes himself the locker room leader." Like RVD was like, "I'll never forget. I came to TV one day, and Punk comes up to me and he goes, 'Hey Rob, I was just gonna let you know, man. I'm gonna have a meeting with a bunch of the guys. It's not about you, but I just want to let you know.'" And I'm thinking like, RVD's like, "You're calling a meeting?" Like, you just got here like a year ago. You know what I mean? Like, so
And I think
yeah,
he was that in AEW. Like he was actually that, like the
yeah.
locker room
It's
leader.
deserved
Probably.
now. It's deserved now. Back then, it was like I could see RVD being like, "The fuck."
But yeah, it's weird to go like yeah, that was CM Punk's career in AEW. After you kind of did that with WWE, you know, like I don't know, like
I think it's funny. One thing that's actually really funny to me is like how uptight people are because I saw a lot of people making the joke about, man, you know those straight edge dudes, they're so high strung, man. Give them some weed or something or a drink or something. And I saw like people like, that's so inappropriate to say. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like Punk probably does need to smoke a joint. He's a
well,
little, he needs to relax a little bit. You know,
we
that's what it
don't.
sounds
I
like.
mean, we don't have to go that far. Like I don't think straight edge has shit to do with
I'm
it.
just,
When
I'm just,
half
I'm
the,
just saying, like it's a joke, and people were like, "That's so inappropriate." Like, come on, bro. Come
I
on,
mean,
bro.
Brian Danielson is straight edge basically. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
Brian. Brian, I don't want to say I would probably rather hang out with Brian than Punk, but I'd probably rather hang out with Brian than Punk.
You can learn how to farm or something. I don't know, but
But Punk has always seemed like a really cool guy too, though. So I don't, you know,
I love Punk. I love a lot of the stuff that he did in AEW. It sucks that it ended that way, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
But luckily enough, I don't think that there was that much damage done because of
yeah,
it.
yeah. I
If
think that Adam Page has not helped himself, but I hope that this Swerve feud helps him rebound from that because I feel like he's the one out of everybody, he's the one that's honestly been in purgatory since then, unfortunately.
I think maybe you're right with the Hangman stuff, but I don't know. Seeing, and I wasn't here to talk about this last week, I guess, but seeing them in the ring, Swerve and Hangman facing off for the first time and promoing against each other. Um, sorry. And promoing against each other and the ratings going up because they were on TV against each other. Hopefully Hangman's back.
Yeah, for sure. And
If
well, no, keep going.
I'm saying if that's not an indicator of like you are the man,
Mm-hmm.
now assume it and fucking go out and do it, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. And I think for me, piggybacking off of that and going back kind of to the Punk thing, that's the most disappointing thing to me is like the two matches I think that we really needed to see again that we never saw again were Punk and MJF and Punk and Adam Page. Kenny Omega never happened. Of course we wanted that, but I think because of the way that all this heat had been built, the only way for Adam Page to truly ever get his heat back as a babyface would have been to go against CM Punk. And now that can't happen. So hopefully, this propels him back,
Yeah.
because I like the angle that Swerve is taking when he said he looked comfortable. And this is the pointing to his belly and shit. I was like, oh god damn, Swerve. That was funny. So
Swerve also another person who has kind of like stayed out of any controversy or any of that, who's been building himself to be like a person that I'm like, Swerve is basically undeniable now as like should be in championship roles. I don't think he always needs a fucking 8-man weird whoever team
It's
with
always
him.
it's always him and Nana's good enough. Him and Nana's
But
good enough.
it's just like fucking go out there with Nana, let him wear his weird fucking Marshall shirts,
do his dance,
and just have a blast.
yeah.
But Swerve like has deserved this role for a while, and I hope Hangman brings the same thing to this feud that he brought to the CM Punk feud and to the Danielson feud.
And the Moxley feud, I forgot about that.
And the Moxley too, yeah.
That Moxley feud was good. After that, he definitely, I don't know what happened. It was like, Swerve said it best. What happened, Hangman? What happened?
You got comfortable. So, saying all that to say, thanks everybody for hanging out with us this week on Permanent Marks. This is episode 17. Like I said, if you want like the regular breakdown, you should definitely go check out episode 16. I was not there, but it was a wonderful breakdown with Eric, Moretta, and Aaron, and it definitely deserves to be listened to. But yeah, we'll be back hopefully next week to talk about the goings-on in the wrestling world, y'all.
Yes, sir. Like, comment, subscribe. Until next time.